Hey friends, Steph and the Floofs here. It's been a minute, but we're back with something we think you're really gonna like. In our last video, we showed you how to build a dynamic parallel approval workflow using Power Automate and SharePoint. Now, I gave you a quick look at the Power App that we're using to trigger it, but today we're diving into exactly how to build the app from the ground up. This app uses modern controls, flyout filters thanks to Tolu, tabbed layouts to separate areas of the form, and dynamic logic that adapts to the approval roles you've set in SharePoint. So whether you're handling document submissions, compliance approvals, anything in between, this structure is flexible and ready for real-world use. Oh, and if you stick around till the end, we have a surprise for you. The working files are downloadable, so you can dig in, explore the design, and build your own version faster. We're all expected to do more with less, right? Now let's build it together. Here we have the main screen. We have a gallery that's broken out using modern tabs to make the data more consumable for our end users. We have the flyout filters here on the right, thanks to Tolo Victor. I'll put a link in the description to his beautiful videos. But here we can filter by who was submitted by, the revision date, the type of change. Let's look at a revision. You see immediately I can clear here. Or if we had multiple, let's say we have rejected, and let's do new document. I can either clear one or I can clear all and get back to the main view. And the filters are easily hideable for more screen real estate. If we click on one of these, it takes us into another screen with more modern tabs at the top. Now, I'm a lazy IT person. Do you see the layout here? If I go back to the main screen and click on new document, this is the same screen. We're filtering out the modern tabs and setting the value for the form so that we only have one screen we have to maintain. I'm a lazy IT person. I'll show you that in a minute. So let's start at the top and work our way down. We have our Submit New Document button. It's a modern button. We have the icon within the button. Modern controls make things so much easier. And on the button select, we're setting a variable var form mode to form mode new. That lets us use one screen, one form for multiple roles. And then we're navigating to screen details. And we have a search here that's tied to our filter. Same search box here. And then here we have our modern tabs. Now our modern tabs show all the document types from our SharePoint list. Remember, you can download all the files from this, including the SharePoint schema. I had to think of the word for a minute, and the link will be in the description below. And then here, I'm leveraging labels in a horizontal container so that everything lines up. And within the gallery, here's where we have all of our search functionality. You'll see we do have a delegation warning. Now that's because, and if we hover over it, we're searching on the form name. Delegation warnings are just warnings. There are multiple ways of working around them. I've done videos on delegation. Rez has done videos on delegation. Let me know in the comments if you want me to go into this more. There are ways around it. It's just a warning. Then if we look at the actual gallery and expand out, I have a button. So end users don't always see the little arrow to the right in a gallery, and that comes by default when you create a gallery. I like to put a button, one of the modern buttons on top of it, to give that finger click or finger input functionality. So users can click anywhere within here to navigate to the record. And if we look at it, there's no text, there's no icon. And if we scroll down, one of the built-in styles for modern buttons is transparent. So we have it set to be a 0x, 0y. Now here's where it'll get you in galleries. It's parent.template width and parent.template height. So it'll always fill the space. You see here how processes, the names is cut off until we play. That button covers the whole space no matter what size screen the users are using. Try not to use hard-coded values wherever possible because you never know if you have a user with a wide format screen or a little bitty laptop. Containers are also good for that. I've done a video look in my past videos. Okay, so now if we click on the Submit New Document, what have we got going on here? Here we go to the screen details. And here, if I click on this menu or this modern tabs, and I format the text, look what we have going on. I'm leveraging the variable if var form mode doesn't equal new, give me everything. And then we're doing some additional logic. If there are approvals, show us approvals. So let's look at this. I'm going to minimize the code. In a new format, we only have document details. I'm going to go back. If we go into one of the records, there we have everything. Now you see there's an approvals tab. I'm going to go back and go into one of my new records. Don't know what happened there, but in a new record, if the approval process hasn't gone through, and I've done the previous video on how the approval works, you don't see the approvals tab. Why show something when there's been no action on it yet? Make it easier for your end users. Don't confuse them. End users get confused easily. So if we go back to the main screen, and go back into new document, here we are in the main screen. Let's start it again at the top and work our way down. Our text here is again dependent on if it's a var form mode of new. If it is, new document submission. Otherwise, submission var this item, which is the variable that we set when someone clicks on the item in the gallery, document ID, and var this item form name. Here we have the modern tabs. I'll expand out this again. Another look at this. Remember, you can download these. I'll have a link in the description below. If var form mode does not equal new, then everyone will get this. Now, if there have been approvals, and in my previous video, we talked about how we do all those approvals, then that won't be blank and then shows approvals and notes. Otherwise, just document details. Same code I showed you before. Then we have some icons here for save with different actions on the button clicks. We're either submitting the form or submitting a different form, because we'll get into that in a minute. We're refreshing or we're canceling. Now let's look at this a little bit more detail, because this cancel is doing a lot of things. We're resetting the forms. Again, one screen for multiple tasks, right? We're setting the var form mode to new. We're navigating to the gallery. We're setting var this item blank, and we're clearing out some approval steps, and I'll get into that in a bit as well. So here we have the form. This is form main, and if we look at the tree view here, it's in a container called details. And the container called details is only visible if the value selected is document details. Again, we're using this container for new and reviewing of items. So form main, if we click on that, the data source is a SharePoint list. The default mode is set by our variable, and our item is also set by our variable. So if they select an item out of the gallery, it sets the var form mode to edit and sets var this item. If it's new, it's going to be a var form mode of new. And you can see here, default mode is showing us here new, giving us the value, which is handy. Okay, so most of these fields are directly out of the SharePoint list that this is tied to. The one thing that isn't here is our processes. Now, if we look at our data sets here, we're going to look at document type, and these are our different types of document types. The menu that you saw at the top, SOP, all of these things. But if we go back to our app and we look at our processes, click Edit Data, you'll see here that we have a lookup to all of these different options. And if we go to our submissions, Edit Data here, and we go into list settings, processes here, processes is just a multiple line of text because these may change. So how do we handle that? If in the SharePoint list, this is a multi-line of text. However, we want it to be sorted and give us options, multiple select options from the doc type. How do we do that? So let's say I select LAG. Now we have these options that we can select multiples of. If I select LOG, here are the options here. How are we handling this? So on the items of the combo box that I added to this data card, we are filtering the options from our SharePoint list by what we select over here. And if I click within the formula, you'll see how it color codes it for us. Isn't that nice? Then if I select the data card and we look at the update statement, we're concatenating, we're taking and putting together what is selected in this dropdown with a semicolon and a space. So if we go back to our main screen and let's play it, that's what you see here, those text values. Now, if I come back into one of these, you'll see it's selected already right here. How did we do that? In the edit form, we can set the default for this, default selected items, on a split statement. That's where the delegation warning comes in. It's just a warning. We're never going to have over 200 records here, so we can ignore it. It's annoying. I wish we had a way to ignore it, but that's how you have it. So there's the code for that. We're filtering by the title off of this records process with a split. So if we were to drop this down, you'll see here it's selecting everything for us. So that's the new form and the edit form all in one fell swoop. Let's go into one of the records and look at the other form that our cancel button referenced, and that's form review. As we go through the tabs up here, you'll see that different things show and hide, and that's because we have conditional logic on our containers. This container review details. Always name things off of the default so that you know what you're working in and your coworkers don't hate you if they have to come work on this later. Our container review details visible property, it's only visible when tab list selected.value is review details. Now, in the olden days, you could do if tab list selected value equals review details, comma true, comma false. You don't have to go to that level of effort. Just put the true or false value in there, and Power Apps is smart enough to know the difference. So from our previous video, here's our send for approval button. I cover all that in the other video. But for testing purposes, this button is visible on various things if it's rejected or new, so that we could kick off this process. This form review, is also actioned by these same buttons. You'll see they're the same here as here. I'm a lazy IT person. I don't want to recreate buttons and have to, did I update this one, that one? No, I want to use one button for multiple things. Work smarter, not harder. So the save button, if it is review details, and here we are using an if statement, submit form review. If it's not, submit form main. That's this form here. So we're using that logic for the save. The refresh button here, we're resetting them and we're refreshing the data source. And the cancel, like I showed you earlier, let's expand this out, is doing all of this. So let's go into here. These are all of our individual reviews that we covered in the previous video. Here we also have something that I'm starting to do in a lot of my apps. This is a notes section, and I've done a video on this before. Look back in my history. This is where you can add notes. It's also capturing when someone clicks the review button. So if someone submits one of these for review, we have a pop-up. I love to do this, and let me play so we have all this stuff out of the way. I love to do this so people can't claim that they clicked a button on accident. Oh, I didn't mean to click send for approval. I really wasn't ready. Well, if you hit yes here, what are we doing? We are patching. We are patching the comments. We're taking what was there. We're adding on to it. I've done a video on this before. Let me know in the comments if you want me to go into additional detail. Remember, you can always download these working files. This is more of a look at what Power Apps can do video than a step-by-step. Let me know in the comments which sections you want me to go step-by-step on, and I can. We are starting at the top. We're setting var item to this item. We're patching to our data source. We're capturing what was there in the notes, and we're appending to it. If they gave us comments, great. If not, enter no comments so we know something was there. Then we're kicking off the flow that I covered in my previous video. We're resetting it. We're letting the users know, hey, it worked or it didn't work with errors. And then we're resetting some stuff. So I'm going to hit cancel here, play the app again. The notes captures those details. So I've already kicked it off twice, but what else can we do here? This is an additional note. This is just for people who look at this later. And we can do point 1, because it's rich text, point 2, and hit save. It's going to patch to our data source. And then if we go back into it, it's still rejected. But here is our additional notes at the bottom. Now let's go over the gallery in a little more detail. I'm going to go back to the main menu. Just to cover what we have going on here, if I click on the gallery and expand it out, here's where we have all of our filter actions going on. So depending on what we select from the tab list, that's going to be our doc type. It's a choice field in our SharePoint column. So we're filtering by that. And if our combo box is from our filter, are selected or blank, then we're filtering by those multiple items. Using the and statement this way, it's clean and you can do multiples. And then we're also giving the users the ability to search by text. Again, depending on your use case, the delegation may or may not be an issue. So if we click on the filter button, and this is from Tolo Victor's videos, I'll put a link to it below. I just think his work is beautiful. On the select of this button, which is another modern button, we are setting a variable filter open, or var filter open true or false. And it's just a simple true or false statement. And over here, if we go to the tree view and scroll up, here's our filter container. Within the vertical filter container, I have a horizontal filter container for the title bar with a clear all button. And then I have a rectangle in there for a little bit of color. And then all of these filterings down here. I'm not going to get into the details of that. There's tons of videos in YouTube on this. So let's look at the gallery here. So this is a horizontal gallery with that button that I told you about on top of everything else. But what I wanted to show you here was on each one of these items, if we look at their X, it's referencing the label above it. If we look at the Y, it's referencing where it is within the template. It's always going to be centered in the space it's given. The width is the same as the label up top, and the height is 31. I could set this, oh, it is set to auto height. So it'll automatically adjust for the size of the text that's within it. If we look at type, process, you see how it's bigger, auto height, but everything else is referencing to something else so that we make this responsive, not mobile responsive, but responsive within a desktop environment. So there you have it, a full use case for how you can leverage Power Apps within your organization to track multiple approvals for multiple locations or multiple areas within your organization. This will give you the visibility to your end users in a one pane of glass to see where things are in the processes. The previous video has all of the Power Automates. This one is covering the actual app. Remember, I'll put a link down below. You can download all these working files so you can learn and play with it on your own. The speed of change is crazy and we're all expected to do more with less. So work smarter, not harder. See you in the next video. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts, questions, and any topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. Sharing is caring, so don't forget to share this tutorial with your fellow Power Apps enthusiasts. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep rocking Power Apps like a true pro. See you in the next video.